Welcome, everybody. This is a very exciting episode of the Killer Kaiju podcast. Today, we are doing the swan song, the one and only, everything that's been building up from 1954 Gojira up until now, the one, the only Godzilla versus Destoroyah. And as always, it is Lucas and Josh.
Hi.
We love you dearly. And I love this movie. You know what? I can confidently say we love this movie dearly. As always, Josh has not seen the movie, and he'll be the kind of new blood, pun intended, of the last film we did. He'll be kind of like the fresh kind of opinion and set of eyes on the film, while someone, a veteran like me, who's seen this film and cried millions of times in my lifetime. I've literally watched it probably 7 times in the past 2 weeks just to really get myself ready to do this podcast, because I confidently am already coming out and saying this is, if not my favorite, or in the top 3 of my favorite Kaiju films of all time. And I feel like a lot of people share this with me. We've talked about this film a little bit before whenever we mentioned the Rotten Tomatoes score. We'll get that one right out of the gate. Ladies and gentlemen, this has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. 100%. Critic score, not even audience score. That is critic scored. And we will be diving into all of the bread and butter on why this film is as big as it is, why it's so successful, and why it's so loved around the world, let alone just in Japan, as one of the best kaiju movies of all time. If this is your first time on the podcast, which it might be if you're just coming out to hear some opinions on this film because you as well watched it and realized what you've been missing your entire life, we do a podcast / commentary. So you can either listen to this as a podcast, hear our thoughts, opinions, and facts on the film, or you can watch it along with us with our countdown provided, or as well, we have a timestamp if you're watching this on YouTube as well. Obviously, as always, folks, we've mentioned before, you can listen to our podcast on pretty much all streaming platforms, anywhere you can get it: Apple, Spotify, Anchor FM, it's everywhere, and obviously on YouTube as well. Without further ado, folks, as always, we are going to dive right into this beautiful, amazing, incredible Sugoi of a film being amazing. Let's do it. Josh, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get it.
All right, let's fucking do this, folks. I will say this already. We're going to be talking some mild spoilers as we go through it, but it shouldn't be too bad if this is your first time watching. But I recommend you experience this film on your own first and really set it in. Josh is going to be paying full attention to this movie, so I will be doing a lot of the fact speaking, because I can already tell he's going to be drooling over
like
this
always.
film. Big bushy-eyed. So let's dive right in, folks, on the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Let us begin.
Pow, pow.
I am hard with excitement right now. I cannot wait. So the film we were watching, the version we were watching, I'm a little disappointed. I had the English dub of this film. This is the one we're watching. I have seen the Japanese sub version. The sub is always better because, like, you hear the actual emotion and the acting of the characters. I find the dub in this one, even the mixing is a little off, and some of the acting isn't the best, but just because of the raw amazingness of this film, it's just easily dismissible. So there's a lot of throwback. Even if you were to watch the original 1954 Gojira and then just watch this one next, it would work. And that's why it's so incredible. Because if you recall, the 1984 Godzilla, the one that started the Heisei series that we watched, that one was the first of the Heisei series, and it ignored everything that happened in the Showa series except for the very first film. Okay. And this is kind of the swan song. This is the end of that era. And in ways, when I think of the Godzilla as a franchise, I think of 1954, the original, up to this, and then the Millennium's kind of their own thing. But this feels like it belongs with the original. So we open up with here, obviously, our cast member, our beautiful lead, Miki Sagusa, who's been in this since Godzilla versus Biollante. She's been our psychic. She's been in every single one. It's kind of cool. You know, we've watched Miki kind of grow from a child, because in Biollante, she's a teenager and she was a pop star when she got that job. And now she's like a full adult actress, and it's cool to see how far she's come. And we've kind of literally watched her grow as a character and her career as well. I think that's really cool. And if you saw the title card there, obviously we're opening here, not in Japan for once. We are in Hong Kong, China.
Okay. I was thinking it looked slightly different.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I gotta say about this film. This is the most well-paced movie. It doesn't get boring. It's like action, good storytelling, and when the characters are on screen, they're telling you what's going on. It's not boring. It doesn't feel like it's taking away from what you should be seeing. This film is truly the ultimate Godzilla roller coaster. And I can't I just can't even express how good this movie is. We're just gonna have to experience it here. See, so some of the English dub, they're like, "Oh my god, it's a monster." It's not the best. So this suit is probably one of my favorite Godzilla suits. Really freaking cool. I know earlier in our podcast series, we were talking about what version of Godzilla we would like to see, and you were like, "Oh, like a burning Godzilla, like a fire Godzilla." And that's essentially kind of what we're getting here. You can see the suits like glowing orange, and like it looks like it's on fire. There's like smoke emitting from him, like he's literally like a walking flame.
I feel like in this movie, this is the soonest we've ever gotten a Godzilla, like anything to do with Godzilla.
Right away, monster action right off the bat.
Usually it's like 20, at least 30 minutes in. Like we're just, he's here.
Yeah. So you noticed in the Space Godzilla, the last one we watched, remember when his beam changed from blue to red? And he was using like the pulse beams. Essentially, I think when he used that, his body kind of like, it was saying it was going into like reactor mode, like it was overpowering. So I love the way he's displayed in this film as like he's almost this uncontrollable, stoppable machine. Like even he doesn't know what's going on. Like he's truly just like a lost creature, but he's like, burning from the inside out. He doesn't know what to do.
Definitely a villain.
Yes, absolutely. And I love the shot here as he's walking through the water because he's trying to cool down, right? And like the steam is just like burning the water around him.
Just a hot tub at this point.
Yeah, exactly. You ever want like a nice natural spring? Go sit next to Gojira as he's walking through here as burning Godzilla. This is a perfect time too. There's a lot of smoke coming out of Godzilla. And so there was actually thousands of little lights that were in place and then covered over with this clear plastic material that makes it look like it glows. And our usual suit actor, Kenpachiro Satsuma, is in that suit. And to get that effect, actually, they expelled so much smoke, it caused carbon monoxide to build up, and he actually passed out in the suit.
Jesus.
Yeah, some crazy shit happens in this one. There's footage of it online of him passing out. It's brutal.
Interesting little 3D graphic on that one.
You notice how it started off with the original Gojira, like from the original 1954 title, and then it exploded into this.
Destoroyah.
So obviously they originally wanted to call the creature Destroyer, but to market toys and to trademark the name, it's very hard to trademark a name like Destroyer.
Yeah.
So they changed it to Destoroyah with the extra O in there, which I think is cooler. I think it sounds more badass. Like it sounds like a badass like metal band,
Yeah.
Destoroyah.
Like Gojira.
Exactly.
Godzilla Gojira. Sounds way cooler.
Way cooler. So, and you'll notice in this cut, like in the American dub, they say Destroyer instead of Destoroyah. So that was kind of like what they were going for. They just assumed it was like how they said it in Japanese. And it's like, nope, that's just their name. That's its name. Here's the only negative of this film. So these shots of Godzilla walking through Hong Kong, you'll notice the people that are walking, they kind of just don't care, like a giant monster is walking through the city, destroying everything. But it's just because they had on-site shots, right? They weren't like telling people to run. It was just footage they took from the cities, from the city streets. So they're just kind of walking around. In some cases, they're walking towards Godzilla as they're destroying everything.
Oof.
But that's the only negative in this entire, like the only oof moment in this entire film. The rest of this film is pure gold. And interesting enough, we have a returning, I should say, actress that probably gives it away from the very first Godzilla film from 1954 in this film. And they're actually reprising a role from that film. So we'll get a little into that, and we'll probably give the answer in a few moments here. So here they're kind of explaining the obvious here, that Godzilla is a walking nuclear reactor. And then essentially what's happening. Exactly. And he's melting down. That's pretty much essentially what's happening. So here we get this American holding up this tape saying that all of this is on this disc here. And it's all about Godzilla and like what's going on with him. And if you see the name there, Kenkichi Yamane. Yamane. Doesn't that sound and look familiar?
Yeah.
So Dr. Yamane was the original professor who was trying to stop Godzilla, if you remember, and Emiko's father. You know what I mean?
This is like the H2O of this series.
Yeah, honestly, it's
The one where they
something
kind of be
else.
like, all right, forget the other ones, this one.
Yeah. So obviously the boy that lost his family in the original 54, he was adopted by Dr. Yamane, if you remember that.
Yep.
That's essentially this kid's father.
The dude in the suit, right?
No, the kid.
Oh, the kid. Okay.
Yeah, the
Sorry, I was
kid.
like, am I thinking like too far?
Yeah, no. So that's his relative. So he's the offspring of technically one of the adopted kids that Yamane adopted. So he's not truly a blood Yamane, but he's family Yamane.
Okay. Also,
So
like, if you notice, sorry to cut you off, but
that's
like
okay.
how they have the Macintosh like Apple, or
Yeah.
getting into it, but they're starting to get into more modern technology. Everything's adapting from when we were literally like sliding door paper doors.
Yeah. And you see the
Wow.
Godzilla statues everywhere.
He's got a laptop.
Yeah. And
Look
you
at him go.
notice when he said to him, he's like, yeah, I submitted this to G-Force and the military, and they took it as a joke and they didn't even care. So he sent it to the States. That's why they came to visit him, because they're like, hey, the States just said you sent this really in-depth thing about what's going on with Godzilla. But Godzilla wasn't seen as being what he was until he surfaced. So now they're all like, now they're interested. But he's like, oh, so now you care, now he's causing issues? Like, screw you, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he should have known that at the point, if you haven't seen Godzilla in a while, it's not going to be taken as a threat. But the day it fucking happens,
Yep. But
like
the
I said
States
before,
know.
every like 10 years, you just need to move.
Yo, this guy's got mad thirst for Miki. He didn't care. And as soon as he heard he said Miss Sagusa, he's like, oh, I'll come tomorrow, right now. I'll come right now. I'm on my way.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I
The
mean, if you
boy.
really think about it, someone who's had a telepathic connection with Godzilla and has an ESP tech, telekinesis ability, like, why wouldn't you want to work with her?
Mm-hmm.
So here we get introduced this woman here in the middle. She's essentially like a reporter, and that is the other daughter of the Yamane family. So it's our protagonist we just got introduced to, Ken Kishi, I think his name was. We'll get his name again in a bit. And then this is the other sibling, his sister. So they're kind of our two main protagonists that we're going to be following through the film.
Okay.
So here we have the and who's this? See if you recognize her. She's a lot older now. Wait till we get a face shot. So I'll tell you who it is, but see if you can recognize her. Do you remember
I don't care unless
Emiko?
it's Eye Patch Man.
No,
Yes.
it's Emiko though. The love that Dr. Serizawa sacrificed his life for Emiko and the other guy and Ogata.
Yeah.
So they could, and he was like, live happy, do promise me one thing, live happily together in love, and move on with your life. Well, we learned that didn't go so well, because after Serizawa sacrificed his life, essentially Emiko fell into a deep kind of, I wouldn't say depression, kind of, but more like felt like she could love another man because of what she caused that to happen. She technically was the cause that made Serizawa lose his life, because she
I don't know, man.
mentioned his secret. So, see, Emiko Yamane. So he's like, yeah, I got to talk to her, because she just did the news report on the news about that scientist, and he was talking about making a mini micro oxygen destroyer, essentially, kind of like the oxygen destroyer from the first film. And Emiko saw it on the news, and she knows exactly what happened last time an oxygen destroyer was made. She lost someone very close to her, and the world almost fell into peril. So she's definitely going to talk her out of it. It's crazy to think, though, really, like, I know it's hard to think back, but like really think back, like on Godzilla versus Biollante, when Miki was like, standing off in the distance on that boardwalk, telepathically fighting with Godzilla, how young she looked there compared to now. Like, we've literally watched her grow as a character and actress. I can't get over that. It's so cool.
The haircut.
Yeah. See, there she is there. So that's the actress that played Emiko in the very first 1954. All these years later, 30 some odd years later, she's here. I think that's so cool. We get a lot of throwbacks to the original Gojira in this one, obviously explaining what happened.
I like that.
Which is, This movie's just so good. It's literally a love letter to Godzilla fans. That's literally what this is. It's like it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Fanfare. Literally just made for fans. It's just beautiful.
I
And
see
it's a
why
great film,
you guys
so.
would all like this, especially like fan made then, because you'd be like, or not fan made, but like the
Being massive
fan
fans.
critic or whatever. Yes, like that would explain the 100% because you're getting like flashbacks, you're getting previous like people, you're continuing story for once. Like there's little things.
Yeah. It's just a beautiful fucking film. And the coolest thing about this one is this is really a send-off for a lot of reasons. So let me just be sure to find out exactly who the third is, so I'm not totally shitting the dog here. I know this is a huge send-off for a lot of reasons. Like, this is essentially like the big send-off for the Heisei series. In this movie, it was supposed to be like this was the last film for Toho, and then they were gonna let Godzilla rest, as a film franchise for 10 years, and then they were gonna come back, and they were handing it off kind of to the States, and TriStar was gonna make their own Godzilla film, which ended up being 1998 Godzilla, which did so poorly and so badly that they had to come back even sooner and revitalize the franchise.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll get to that one next. Let's not mention that while we watch this unbelievable film.
We will see what happens.
Exactly. So the cool thing is this is a swan song for three big main reasons. The first one being, I just want to make sure, I believe this is the swan song for this character as well. Yes, it is. So basically this film features the last appearances of Tomoyuki Tanaka, who produced Godzilla, all the Godzilla films from 1954 all the way up until this film. He produced every single Godzilla film. He was kind of the father of Godzilla, right?
Damn.
So this is his last film he ever did, and he tragically passed away after this film from brain cancer. Akira Ifukube, who did the original 54 soundtrack and a lot of the good soundtracks all the way up until this, wrote the infamous Godzilla March. This is his last score, and he actually came back to do the entire score for this film. So this is his swan song, his last film as well. And Koichi Kawakita, who did the special effects for Biollante. And I think Biollante was the first one. He was the head of special effects, and he did a lot of the Heisei ones, but he was involved in all of the old Showa ones too, in some way, whether he was second director, second or third or first special effects director, assistant. So, and this is all three of them's last swan song of a Godzilla film. So this is why they had a lot riding on this film, which is why it's so good. Because this is like, yeah, this was meant to be the big bang, like the grand finale. So they put a lot of effort and like time into this. All right. I've done nerded out about all the fun stuff. Now we're going to talk about the film frame by frame. I said all of the extra fun facts and stuff like that. Oh, wait, one more really funny one. So the actress who plays Miki Sagusa, Megumi Odaka, she it was funny when they were filming Shin Godzilla recently in like the early late 2012-ish, I believe. Yep. They were filming in Japan, and she was walking home from work, and there was a huge part of the street that was cut off because they were filming Shin Godzilla, and they're like, "Oh no, you can't enter, like we're filming for a Godzilla film." And she's like, "What? There's a Godzilla being filmed and Miki isn't allowed in? How the times have changed." You know, how they forgot about her. She's like, "I'm insulted." I just thought that was funny.
I would have just walked in.
Yeah, I've been like, "Do you know who royalty?" I am? So here we get kind of the final assumption that Godzilla will explode. He's going to build up with nuclear power and keep getting hotter and hotter until he blows up. So like for once, it's not just his destruction, but literally his living and well-being that's going to cause the end of existence as we know it. God damn.
There's just you can also see why they would want to destroy him, right? Not just research him and all that kind of whatnot.
Yeah. Though the research is going to play heavily because they got to research in order to know what's going to happen with him. Oh, here we get a really cool like effect of what would happen if he exploded. Really cool shots here. And for lack of a better thing, there's some CGI that's used in this to explain some stuff. But this is the last film that Toho did that was like very practical effect heavy. After this movie, even the Toho films tend to use a lot of CGI and green screening that doesn't age well or particularly look good. This one
Yeah.
uses a lot of practical effects and is like the last one, which is, I mean, understandable as we talked about, this being Kawakita's last special effects film as well, who's known for doing those really great practical work. And Tanaka being the producer who always pushed for that. Now that they're both out of the picture, Toho wanted to maybe try some new things. They didn't want to tarnish what they had created. They wanted to try something new. And I understand that. And they wanted to get with the times, especially with 1998 Godzilla being the disaster it was that TriStar did. And they wanted to fix North Americans' opinion and view on Godzilla because that was all they knew for a lot of people from North America, I being one of them as a kid, right?
Yeah.
So they wanted to make a film that would adapt well to North American audiences. So they wanted to include a lot of CGI and a lot of green screening and a lot of things. So people, because that was popular in North America, like a lot of people, as we talked about before the podcast, just kind of see, miniatures and guys in suits and they all stupid, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And they don't really get the appreciation for it. So they really had to rely on CGI to bring in those audiences to kind of get them to understand why these movies are what they are.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But that's exactly why this one, again, is so special, because this is the last one where it's just so practically heavy. And Kenpachiro Satsuma's last role of Godzilla as well, from 84 all the way up to this.
That's honestly surprising. I figured they would want to keep using him.
I think he just didn't want to do it. Honestly, I think after this, especially passing
Getting older and whatnot,
almost dying, and and at this point, after he waited the 10-year limit, he probably thought, because they're gonna put him on ice for 10 years, which they didn't end up doing. I want to kind of take a break because by the time that it is, I'm gonna be like 40 this, 50 that. I'm not gonna be able to do all this shit.
Yeah, they will.
So notice how we kind of get a similar triangle of things here. Like in the original, we had Emiko, Dr. Serizawa, and Ogata, kind of the three, like the kind of brother-sister kind of relationship. And then we get the love angle as well. We kind of get that here with Ken being the guy with the glasses, the student, the younger guy who has the information on Godzilla. His sister, the other Yamane right there, and she's kind of in love with the scientist who's developing the micro oxygen. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
So right when it started to become, talking like we were there, just when you think it might get a little boring, they throw something at us. This film has great pacing. So these are the dirt samples that they had picked up, that they were trying to. Essentially, they took dirt samples from the original site of the Oxygen Destroyer, where the Oxygen Destroyer went off in 54 and killed Godzilla. They took dirt samples because they want to try and see if they can figure out what the effects of the Oxygen Destroyer were to see whether it would be safe on land or not.
Fair enough.
So that's kind of what they were studying. And as they noticed there with that meter, those who don't really understand the computer mumbo jumbo that was on screen there was a weight difference, a weight change in one of the beakers, like something was moving inside the dirt. Yeah. Bomb. That Oxygen Destroyer.
Here everything's gonna fucking die.
Yeah, Mogata and Serizawa going down.
Bye-bye, little buddies. Oh, it feels like forever since I've seen this one.
Oh man, even this like hits me with the feels, and then I just can't wait to the ending of this film, man. It gets me every time. I'm not gonna lie, for the first 4 times I watched this movie, I did cry pretty heavily, man. It hit me hard.
You're fucking hilarious.
I will just have to wait, but so here, I like how we get Emiko in a lot of this. I think it's so cool, especially because the actress who plays Emiko, Mokumo Kochi, when she did the original 1954 Godzilla, she liked it and she loved doing it. But then afterwards, all her acting jobs, everyone was like, oh, when I see your face, I think Godzilla. And she's like, but that's not all I want to be known for. And the fact that they think of something that, what that movie meant was the effects of nuclear holocaust. So when someone sees her face, they just think of the bombings in her mind. And she didn't like that. So she really didn't want to do anything with Godzilla in the future. But she did this movie. And that's really cool. I think she realized the importance of this film and what it meant. And this is the true ending of an era, Because I feel like even jumping from the Showa movies to the Heisei movies, there's a quality difference, but they still feel like similar movies, while the Millennium movies very much feel like their own series. Notice how this is
It feels like an
Yamane's
entire
office.
different movie. Yeah, yep, the original one.
It's the same office when he was sitting in the dark and he's like, I want to be left alone. Leave the lights off. Everything is pinpoint the way it is. And for those who are watching, folks, you can still go visit this house with all this still intact as a museum piece.
That would be a cool visit.
I'm going there.
I'm going there. You're funny.
It's on my bucket list. Yeah, keep looking. No, you saw something move, man. You know what's up.
They imagined it.
What's that?
Braille.
Some dirt? Surprised
Braille.
this guy didn't see it. Of course he does.
Just make it a bong.
Looks like some kind of vape device.
Yeah, you know, like some weird thing like, oh, there's a hole. There's a hole. There's a hole.
There's a hole in the beaker, dear Liza, dear Liza. A hole. So I'm going to say it right now. This movie pulls heavily like other ones from North American films that were popular at the time. Aliens. That's all I'm going to say. If you've seen Aliens, like exclusively the second one, Aliens, you're going to love this movie.
And then Jaws.
You remember how like the aliens have the blood, acidic blood that eats through surfaces and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of when I see the beaker, and then the beaker's got the hole, and then it shows like, oh, going through this pipe now, almost like when the blood would go through the vessel of the ship and they have to keep following down to see where it went.
Fair enough. Fair
Love
enough.
it.
Okay. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, what? Did that like the beaker thing break and then just dirt fall out? Like, what are you saying? And then I clued in. I'm like,
I see. So really cool as well. So the security guard here, I don't know if you recognize him, but he was in Godzilla versus Biollante, King Ghidorah versus Mothra versus Mechagodzilla 2, and Space Godzilla. And he'll be in a lot of the Millennium movies. And he always does like little bit parts. Like he played the joint chief of staff of Yamaja. He played a former soldier when they went back in time. So he played a ton of different. He played General Hyodo in Mechagodzilla 2. So he's always got little parts in all these movies. I love this effect too. Really great mix of practical and special effects for that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Interesting what it did to that fish. Kind of reminds you of what the oxygen destroyer did to Godzilla, eh?
I was just thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on? Is it like his flashlight? Like he's just pointing it at it. Just, oh, what happened?
I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out.
That's gonna be a weird one to explain to your boss in the morning. So all the fish are dead. Not one, all of them.
Your job was to stop people from breaking in, and instead you killed all the fish.
Exactly. I don't even get paid for this.
So obviously they were all worried about the oxygen destroyer, but now they're telling him he should make it. And he's like, well, make up your goddamn mind.
Yes or no? God damn it.
Yeah, I feel like this one, it maybe not the most monster fights, but I feel like this one definitely has like the best pacing. Like you're not bored a moment in this movie. Like the times when it's people talking like this, they're explaining what happened in the action scenes to help us understand what's going to happen next. It's all set up and payoff. Boom, 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 one after another. See what I mean? A little bit of talking. Something happened at the aquarium. Boom, now we're going to get to this, and now it's going to lead us into something else. The pacing and the writing of this film and the directing is just off the rails incredible. Even for like a non-Godzilla watcher, this film would be interesting to watch. It's got really good pacing. And I feel like this one feels the most like a film.
Oh, it doesn't have any tiny little vehicles.
Even you get the security guard in the background there. Ice on his head. Looks like a tied off condom. Yes. It looks like a condom.
Filled up with water.
I believe they're just tie bags for like fish is what they were kind of going for. But
I don't know on that one.
It's a condom. There we go. So now we're kind of get a little intuition onto what's been going on. Did you see it?
No. Where is it?
The little red thing that moved across the screen.
Oh, it's like a parasite.
Yeah. Look at this shit. There's high-tech stuff going on right here.
Motherfucker, they didn't have this in the 90s.
Yo, how do you know? Did you live in Japan? You don't know the technology they had. I mean, they've always been ahead of us technologically. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now it's a giant lobster.
so essentially, what it was is just like a little microorganism that lives in our oceans and in our sand and stuff, right? And obviously,
Yeah,
our oceans
like
are
a sea flea.
unexplored, so they don't know exactly. Like the sea louse from '84.
Yeah.
Similar idea, but it's been affected by Godzilla's radiation, just like the sea louse. But this is a microorganism instead of just a sea louse. You know, a sea louse is an actual creature that kind of has already set kind of build and kind of idea. Like it feeds off other things. But to have something that's a microorganism that its sole purpose is to evolve and become something else, and something's interrupted that process and sped it up with like kind of radiation, like what would happen? You know, something that it's bare bones to evolve hasn't been set yet, but all of a sudden it's been given this analysis of like, okay, an oxygen destroyer, those chemicals, that genetic makeup is now being implemented onto this microorganism.
Can you imagine if that was like unleashed upon the world and you just
Oh,
didn't know where it was? You know what I mean? Like you'd be
oh
sitting there,
yeah.
you're having your nice lunch or whatever, and then I can't breathe, and then basically die.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like stuff that takes oxygen away, like that's a very dangerous weapon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You would have to have like oxygen tanks on you just to leave the house and go get groceries. Going to get new underwear would be ridiculous.
Just wear a full oxygen tank mask. Like I know they have in like certain places, especially in China, and some places in Japan, you can get cans of air.
Ginyu Force.
And I know if you go to Mount Fuji, obviously if you climb Mount Fuji, when you get to a certain height on the mountain, you know, you don't have as much oxygen, so it's hard to breathe. So at the base of Mount Fuji, they actually sell cans of fresh air. So when you get up a certain height, you don't lose, you know, you don't get lightheaded and fall and hurt yourself.
Can
So
you
you
see
can
Josh
inhale
going
oxygen.
halfway, just smoking a cigarette? You're like, I'm good, guys. Everything's good. Like half dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's good, guys.
Oh, so this is another cool thing we get to see in this movie. We've watched the growth and birth of Godzilla Jr. You know, he was baby Godzilla. Then he
Oh,
was
I thought you were gonna
Godzilla
say
Jr. in the
vanilla.
last one. No, no, no. So we had him in Mechagodzilla 2 when he was the cute little baby. Baby? You know, they called him baby. And
Yeah, it was
then
weird looking.
he turned into Godzilla Jr., which more looked along the lines of Godzilla, but cuter and larger. And now we kind of get the next sense of him here. And obviously, Miki still has that connection with Godzilla Jr. through her telepathic abilities. Do you remember when we watched Godzilla versus Space Godzilla and Miki wore that Cerebro helmet and they turned up the voltage because those guys were working for the Yakuza? And I was like, remember that because it fried her head with electricity.
Yes.
Okay. So my theory, because she says in this film that her telepathic strength has been weakened and she can't use it as well as she used to. My theory is that it was because of that.
You could be right on that one.
Oh, what's going on here? Oh, shit, boy. Just when we thought the film was going to have another plateau, it takes another step towards its height. God, I fucking love this movie. So this is where, for me, like, this is where the aliens, the heavy aliens tone comes into play. And it's not in a sense of like, wow, they're blatantly ripping off aliens. It's more like they're paying an homage to it. You know what I mean? There's a difference between stealing and borrowing. And here, like, I think it's much more used as a borrow because it doesn't feel like it's doing that, but worse. It's doing that, but its own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so good. The sets, oh, it's so good.
I don't know. So far, I've enjoyed it.
This is just such a goddamn banger of a movie. And I easily think that Destoroyah is probably one of the coolest kaiju that Godzilla ever fights in every form it has. It's just one hell of a fucking monster. It gets like fucking 6 forms.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's got a flying form, an aggregate form, a juvenile form, a crawl form, a microform, and a perfect form.
So they're
Got so
talking
many
about
fucking
me.
forms.
I'm a perfect form.
Perfect form. That perfect shape. That perfect butt.
Oh, God. Okay.
I was talking about Destoroyah.
Mm-hmm.
So here we get all the military pulling up, and they're just like unloading with all their guns. Like they're prepped. These weapons are awesome. So do you remember in if you've seen Aliens, right?
Yeah, of course.
You remember the one gun that they have where it's like a belt and it's like attached by the mechanical arm and it like pulls out like a giant machine gun
Yep.
and it's like attached to their belt.
There's
And
some wild guns in that series.
right, and then the motion trackers where they have the beeping and it's like you can see them as they get closer. Both those weaponry types are in this movie. Look at right here.
Hey, may as well if they worked on Alien.
Yeah, and I mean it makes sense, right? Because big heavy guns, it's easier to carry. Like that's an actual thing. Usually it mounts at the shoulder, but it's cool that they mount at the waistline.
And then Die Hard happens.
And then this is Die Hard. I think it's a little more scary than Die Hard, though Die Hard is great. I would not put Die Hard in this and Die Hard are equally up there with how good of movies they are, but very opposite ends of the spectrum. But I do love Die Hard. It's fucking great. Doesn't have monsters in it, so we can't watch it on this podcast. But it's one hell of a film, and you should go watch it. Alan Rickman and Bruce Willis in their prime. So here we get them all pumping in, and I mean, ideally, we're gonna finally get confronted with what that microorganism has grown into, and it's only been like 2 days. So I mean, to see the size they're at now, when we see them, like imagine like what they're gonna become is just mind-boggling.
And then just Lucas crawls out of the ceiling.
I wish. Is this the Gojira convention?
This is what happens.
See the guns that are mounted? Look at it. So aliens. I love it. It's not the only thing that's aliens, though. Oh, this is a cool shot.
Probably use air pressure instead of like CO2 or whatever the fuck.
Oh, what's that in the foreground there, eh?
It's Lucas. Lucas in his first form.
I love the reflection shots they do here. I think it's really cool. It's a good way to get like a good look at the monster without it being like right in your face, to the point where you're like, you know, a little put off because you're like, oh, that's just a practical effect. It doesn't look that real. There's another boom.
It's a Bakugan.
So he lifts him up with the tail from behind. That's a great shot.
It's like a giant scorpion like thing.
Yeah. Tail piercing spear.
Alien. Yeah. Now I see it.
Like the alien. It's got a second mouth there, kind of like Alien, as you can see. So this is the one thing that bothers me. I totally understand it. So when they get shot with the micro oxygen beam, they don't disintegrate like the fish did. And the main reason for this is that if they had humans getting, you know, turned to like bone and stuff, they got away with it in Hedorah and like some of the older Showa films. But they wanted as many, because this is the swan song of the Godzilla series, they wanted as many people to be able to see this as possible. So they kind of shy away from the human violence, but they still get fucked up. It's just not as graphic as it should have been, but equally still good. And I love the
so much stuff going on. I'm sorry if I'm not talking. I'm just watching it. But like, you know what a Bakugan is, right? Like those stupid toys with the little balls, and then like they roll out and then they pop out, and it's like a head and little arms. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, like a xenomorph Bakugan.
Also, have you noticed that I just compare everything to toys or like cartoons I've seen?
We're children, ladies and gentlemen. We are children.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's all I ever think of is toys. Try to keep my my youth. Fuck, soon we're gonna be 30. Outside, not on the inside.
always like 12.
I'd say like 14. That's like that good age. I'm like a 14-year-old on the inside. I'm like, I just want toys.
Perfect example of how far behind North America was to Japan. They have like FM transmitters that transmit TV satellite signals. Like that person was watching television on a handheld in 96, 95.
Well, like when they started doing all the science stuff to like, you know, be like, oh, this is a parasite. That's where I'm like, oh, bullshit. Because like they didn't have any of that crap to find true crime or like to, you know, serial killers and crap. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then you were like, oh yeah, they are quite ahead of us, right? So
yeah.
Like, that would make sense then. That would make sense.
I like that this is such a monster movie. Like, not only is it giant monsters, but like this reminds me a lot, if you remember in Biollante, when it was the Asians sneaking in, they were getting attacked by the vines and shit.
Yep.
That was a golden way to keep the movie going without it being like, oh, Godzilla, oh, giant monster fight.
And a lot of action thus far. Like it's
Yep.
been continuous. Like there's monster, there's Godzilla, there's something.
That missile got him.
We
Blew him
hope
up into pieces. Yeah, but there's always more. There was like 2 in the last scene. So there's tons of these things already. They're multiplying like crazy.
Oh, I was thinking of another movie we should watch, by the way. I know it's off topic.
That's okay.
What
movie?
Slither.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's kind of weird, but like the worm one, it just seems so like,
who's
that would
done
be
by?
something.
That's directed by oh fuck, who's that directed by? It's directed by a director.
Is it Eli Roth? I could be wrong. I don't fucking know. I'm making a wild guess.
Yeah, no, it's James Gunn.
Oh, okay.
James Gunn did it. And I mean, we know who James Gunn is. For people who don't know James Gunn did, Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's doing the new Suicide Squad film,
which will be funny. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. We might be eating our words by then, but we'll see.
Hey, I thought the first one looked great, and like I don't know if it's my own personal preference, but was not a fan.
No, it was
fan.
not good. It was not good.
You know, it's not a good movie when Will Smith was the best character. Not that Will Smith's a bad actor or anything, but like he's supposed to be a side character. He held that movie,
and he held the movie going. No, I know
really
that
the
movie
only
had a lot.
interest.
I'm not going to get too much into the DC cinematic universe because I've got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, I know. You're
on
super
that, and I can explain why it didn't do well and what happened. Long story short, Warner Brothers likes to dip their hands in too much into the production of things and not let people do what they need to do, and it ruins the movie every time. Oh, here we go.
And like overall shitty villain too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So here, obviously, we're getting in case we're mixing up characters. So this is the other daughter of Yamane, the reporter.
Yeah.
So she's trying to run away from these things.
Oh shit! Like black hole or something.
Yeah, essentially, because it's like the micro oxygen, so it's slowly eating away at where it hits. So it's like sucking everything inwards. Because obviously, like it's where your lungs are, which is like the main part of like where you build your oxygen.
Basically, just like suffocates you.
Yeah. And then slowly takes all the oxygen out of your body, so it kills all your cells and it deteriorates you.
Suffocates you, then turns you into a raisin.
Pretty much takes away everything except for your bones.
Raisin.
2 scoops of raisins for every
Raisins
box
are
of
gross.
raisin bread. So here we get another homage to a popular film, Jurassic Park.
Scared the shit out of me.
Oh, sorry. Gomennasai, sorry. So
God damn it, Lucas.
Yeah, might dabble a few Japanese words in, folks.
That's okay. You're learning.
Yeah.
Josh is too dumb for this kind of stuff.
So you remember in Jurassic Park, the first one with the T-Rex when they're in the car? And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Dun, and then the water shaking, and then the one guy gets out. He's like, "Where's he leaving us?"
This is a really cool scene. I think they did this one really well.
Oh, it's straight up shit.
Jesus, because we don't get to see a lot of practical effects like interacting with the humans, because usually they're fucking huge, like 10 times bigger than the people. So, like they're kaiju, so you never get to see them interact with people. So to see like the actual puppetry work and the suits being used at scale with another human being is really wild to see. I'd be shitting. I'd be so claustrophobic right now with everything caving in. Get me the hell out of there. Notice how she's using a key to start the vehicle and not a knife.
Surprisingly.
We're going to shit on the next movie for that. Is one of our guests, Phil, pointed out on one of our podcasts how stupid it was that he tries to start the car with a pocket knife and it works.
We'll see. Well, maybe Phil will be joining us for that one.
We'll see. That's such a cool shot. I love it. Oh, see, it even extends like Alien. Almost like a mixture of Alien and Predator, because it's got the side fangs like the Predator has,
Yeah. Maybe some influence on the costume design on that one.
A mixture of both Alien and Predator.
Yeah. Maybe even like the original Predator design as well.
And then it flips the car just like in Jurassic Park. Man, kudos to her though. Like she's really stayed in there. She's staying alive. She's doing good.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
Stay alive.
That's all I was thinking of in my head.
See, but this is one of these moments, like you said, it's so well paced. Like there's always something going on. My eyes are always glued to the screen when I watch this film. Like that's why this one is so rewatchable because there's just so much going on. Like, most of these Godzilla movies, I really treat them as white noise movies a lot of the time. Like I like to throw them on in the background while I'm doing something else. Oh, he just tears the car in half with the beam. Another
Yeah, I
really
bet
cool
he's
effect.
able to. That'd be fucking wild.
Now she's screwed. She better get the hell out of there, or someone better save her right now. There he is. There we get ours. There's the love interest, part of our trio.
No love interest.
But it's not thrown in your face as a love interest in this one. It's more like she's the reporter, he's the scientist, she's trying to get information on what's going on, and they slowly have a thing going on, and maybe as it builds. So isn't just like a, oh, we're in love and we're lovers in a dangerous time. Oh, yeah, flamethrower the bitch.
Like a giant bug.
Yeah,
I get it.
Awesome shot. But yeah, like as I was saying, sorry, before we got cut off by the truck getting cut in half for car. Most of these Godzilla films are white noise, like a lot of the old ones. Like there's sometimes not some stuff going on, so you can play them, do something, and then when the good shit happens, you look over and you don't miss a thing. This film, you will miss everything if you don't watch it because there's always something going on. It's just unbelievable.
It's me now. I'm just like, what's gonna happen?
Right? Well, because now like
we're thinking, to know.
Now we almost forgot about Godzilla, but there's still, these creatures tearing apart everything. And meanwhile, Godzilla's still going nuclear. The end of the world is still at risk.
Oh yeah, shit's still happening. That's where I'm like, I'm waiting for them to get together, hang out a little bit.
So we literally got the inevitable end of the world and something that could take over the world clashing. If either wins, it's still bad. There's a fucking fly in my room. I think I killed it.
Be Godzilla.
Like all this stuff has happened, and this feels like the climax of any other Godzilla movie, right? Like that's how intense this feels. We're only 40 minutes into the goddamn film. There's still so much that needs to happen, and it just gets better and better and better.
Jesus.
Well, no shit, they want to speak to you. The defense ministry probably has a lot to say. This creature could bring about the end of the world, let alone Japan. I remember the Super X.
Yeah.
The Super X and the Super Duper X, the Super X2. Now we get the Super X3.
Updated version.
I think this one looks the best because it actually looks like a jet. Like it looks like something like, yeah, that could put up a fight against Godzilla, not a giant metal toenail. No offense to the Super X and Super X2.
Yeah,
I like them.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
They look like giant toenails. I would love a model of that thing. That'd be wild. Future print I might do. I might design
That'd be a cool
Super
one.
X3.
Make it fly.
Look at that. Everything that they've used against Godzilla compiled into one unit. See, this is funny. At this moment, they're like, we're gonna use one of our best pilots. They build him up like he's gonna be some big character, and I'm glad he's just the pilot. Spoiler, like there's nothing really big about him, and he's not like a returning character because I was worried because we already have so many characters kind of already focused on. We don't need another idiot to focus on. And in a lot of ways, it's a shame that 1998 did so poorly and they had to bring back the Millennium series so quickly. Because I feel like if this is one of those films that just sat and stewed in the minds of little people in Japan, people all around the world, I feel like this film would have been a little more effective for what happens going through the film. Rather than it just be like, this is the end of an era. This is the end of Godzilla, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, the Millennium series comes out 6 years later. You're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Because building up to the promotion for this film, they were like, Godzilla dies. Like that was in the title of the headline. That was what it was advertised as. This is the end of Godzilla. Like it made news headlines around the world.
Spoilers.
Well, I know, but it's advertised as that.
Yeah, I know, but I would have been like, spoilers. I'm not going to fucking watch it now, dicks.
But we've seen Godzilla, how he's been taken down though. Like nothing takes him down. So people were intrigued, like, well, what the hell is going to happen? Essentially. It's very much like, Friday the 13th. We see one come out every single year. We expect to get one every year. And then all of a sudden, like the final Friday, it wasn't, people are like, this is the final chapter. Everyone was like, oh shit, like this is the end of an era, but build up to a more grand scale, because that was, 4 movies at the time, even 13 movies total for that series. This is 23 films, 15 going on plus 7. Yeah. So like 20, yeah, I'd say 23, 22, 23 films. So like that's the end of an era for fucking sure. And the music is on par because fucking Ifukube is coming back and doing this banger of a score. Unbelievable. Now, one of the original ideas for this movie, while we're going through this kind of scene here, is something I can talk over. One of the original screenplays and ideas for this film was because, they were like, well, what are we going to do next? What's going to be the big thing? What can top what we've done in this series so far? And one of them was Godzilla versus Godzilla, but like the original from 1980 or from 1954. But it was going to be Godzilla fighting the ghost of the 1954 Godzilla, like the spirit of that Godzilla, and it was going to possess him and do all this crazy shit. Still kind of a cool idea, but I feel like the way they pulled this one off, it's more of like what happened in 1954 to that Godzilla is what creates the monster that, fights this Godzilla for his grand finale. So I think that's more interesting. Essentially the oxygen destroyer that took out the original Godzilla is what created the monster we're getting faced upon in this film. Like it almost like it comes full circle, like something from the very original film is coming back to take down the creature once and for all. I think that's fucking wild.
I like the soundtrack. This is a banger.
Yo, Ifukube. Because if you think about it, Ifukube, the last one Ifukube did, like they always use his stock music, but he composed all of the score for this one. And I think the last one he did, I think he did Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. Let me see exactly what he's done to the list. So obviously he did all the Showa films, selected tracks in Biollante, but he wasn't the composer for that. Someone else did that. They used some of his works on it. But he did Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, and so he did a majority of the Heisei films. He did King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Mechagodzilla 2. He didn't do Space Godzilla, but his theme was used in it. And then he did Godzilla versus Destoroyah. And this was essentially the last movie he ever composed for. Everything else they just used past like scores from his works onwards. That's a really
Frozen,
cool.
Zilla there.
Frozen Zilla. Good effect though, and how they did it, how they kind of had, the CGI look to it, and then they had like the Godzilla beforehand, and then the Frozen Godzilla model they made, and they just kind of blended them together to make it look like he gradually froze. Really cool effect. Notice how there's like similar to the helmets from the Mogira, but there's just more red lines now.
Same thing.
There's just more
Slightly
red lines.
Smaller too.
Oh, it's so funny. Over and out. And our job here is done. Well, at least for now, they've temporarily put him on ice until they can figure out what to do with him, right?
Yeah.
Because at that point, he was going to blow up. So they're like, fuck, we got to put him on ice so we don't screw up even more than we have already. Yeah, I'd say so. You've literally got a nuclear reactor frozen so it doesn't blow up your Earth. And you've got creatures roaming around destroying everything. I'd say you guys are pretty fucked right now. Yeah. And like, like Godzilla films, I love them when I watch them. I watched them. I was like, that's awesome. I'm going to watch that again tomorrow or something. Or like, in the future. I feel like this is the only time besides the newer Legendary films where I watched this as a Godzilla fan. This is one of the later films I got to see as a kid.
Yeah.
And the second I was done rewatching it, I restarted it and watched it again. I didn't wait. I restarted it and watched it right from the beginning again. I was like, that was so amazing. I need to watch it again.
Now, did you get this on VHS or like was this a DVD?
Yes, I had this one on VHS. This was the last Godzilla film I ever bought on VHS.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, now
bought
I'm
this
on a
one later
never-ending
on. So
hunt when I go thrifting.
yeah,
I'm determined. I'm like, I'll find some good shit, but all I've seen is like the 2000 one.
because the Millennium movies never really got released until later on, and the Heisei movies never got DVD releases until the late 90s. So I bought from the Heisei series. I had Godzilla 1985, not the 84 Japanese original that I have now. I had the Americanized version with all the Dr. Pepper product placement. I obviously had a few of the show ones on VHS, like I had Mecha Godzilla and I had Megalon. But from the Heisei series, I only had 1985, and then I saw Godzilla versus King Ghidorah at a friend's house. I never actually owned that one, and I may have owned Mecha Godzilla too, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, the last VHS I bought was Godzilla versus Destoroyah, and I think that was in like 1999 ish. I was probably like 4 or 5 at the time, and then Godzilla 2000 came out, and that was in theaters in North America. So I remember getting taken to see that, and then I had that on DVD, and that was when DVD started, and that was like, then I had all of them.
ESP.
So this is nice. So this little ESP here, the girl in the white, and the other one being Miki, obviously Miki Sugusa. She's essentially the ESP from the US. She's like the representative for the US, essentially. So you kind of get that US and Japan working together kind of metaphorism for this.
Because if we
And as
don't, the world's
well,
gonna die.
yeah, exactly. And as well, it kind of, in my opinion, kind of pays homage to the Shobijin, because we're not getting fairies anymore, but we get two girls who are kind of together, and they use, they have some kind of special ability, like using ESP to communicate, to kind of stop, and they're all about the peace side of things. So like that's where I kind of see that coming into play. I think that's a nice little, not completely under the nose, a little kind of misguided reference to the Shobijin and the fairies from the original Mothra films, without it being like, oh, these are cosmos fairies from the universe and they're like the ultimate guardians, which I like. I'm just saying that because it's funny. A mocking voice. Oh,
Now we're getting Jaws.
see, and I like the thudding and like the things moving. That's always implied, but never really shown. And I like how we kind of get that in this one. We get that a lot more in the Millennium series. Almost every time Godzilla comes ashore, you'll see shit shake and like move. We didn't get that for a long time. Like we got that in 1984 in the Heisei first movie, and we got it in 1954, the original Gojira, obviously when the house started to shake, and
Oh, so
then
he's really
it
fast
ran
in this
out.
one.
So yeah, super fast. Probably because they're like, Ken Pachiro, move fast, dude. You're gonna pass out. Get this filming done,
Quicker,
bro.
quicker.
So, and Ken Pachiro Satsuma says one, this suit was his, like, one of his favorites. Biollante was his favorite for like practicality, but this one actually had like after he passed out, they built him like an oxygen breathing tube. He had fans in the suit. Like he was treated really well in this movie, and he even says that this was like his favorite. So there we go. That Godzilla looks a little different. You know who that is?
You.
That's Godzilla Jr. now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Weird.
See how he looks more hunched over, more like a T-Rex kind of?
Yeah. That would make sense.
He's all grown up now. He's
What
still
happened to Manila?
smaller, but
They just hated him so much they wrote him out.
yeah, absolutely. Let's show a continuity. We keep that in the past.
Just saying. We don't see him anymore.
I know it's funny. There's this one like book that gets shared around the Godzilla pages often, and it goes, box office disasters and slams of movies and stuff. And Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla was in that book for like the scene between King Shizar and stuff. Yeah. And everyone's just like, obviously they've never seen Godzilla's Revenge or All Monsters Attack.
Yeah, I'd have to agree on that one.
Like, obviously they've never seen those movies because that would be on there before that movie. Yeah, he's heading towards Godzilla.
Canada. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how they're able to find out where Godzilla is. Well, I mean, they froze him down there, but
yeah, little buddy.
no, it doesn't look too good at all. Yep. So he's heating up faster, so they have even less time. Almost like freezing him caused his body to like go into like a, hey, I'm freezing, so I got to heat up even faster now.
Yeah, like shock.
So they may have, bought some time, but now he's going to be even more destructive and more dangerous. I like how they constantly give us these little like CGI digital reenactments of what's going to happen just to really drive home how destructive his explosion would be. It would literally just
Now it's basically
implode.
a black hole. Yeah.
Because I mean, if he blows up, causes the Earth's core to rupture, the Earth would implode on itself. The mass of all that gravitational pull just being taken away in an instant would just implode everything and cause a huge universal anomaly. It'd probably suck in the solar system. It's crazy how like our planet, I mean, we're getting on like a little bit of a science kick here, but like how like one little disruption in space could literally cause our whole existence to plummet into like nothingness.
Yeah, and we basically know nothing about space at this point.
Yeah. Like at any moment, like our lives could just end and everything's done and over with.
Yeah.
Scary shit. I feel like this kind of right here where they're talking about, Godzilla's frozen. They've kind of shied away from the Destoroyah bug stuff. This is the downest this movie gets. It's like the lullest it gets with a little bit of a lull. This is the longest it goes for, but we're still getting story elements. We're building, and everything that's happening is aligning for what happens in the end. Like they're introducing Godzilla Jr. back into the mix, and I feel like it could be done a little better, but I mean, it still keeps your interest. It still goes good. Target 412. Still love the miniatures in this. Goddamn. Yeah, you're right. Ifukube's score is banging in this film, especially.
Oxygen destroyer.
Now they're getting all lined up, ready to take them down. Because at least they know where those things are. You know what I mean? Like they're all within that science kind of outlet. That's why they're all surrounding it. They could just unload and destroy the whole place if they really wanted to.
Sounds like a plan.
Just fucking get rid of them. It's like bed bugs. Just burn the place to the ground. Don't even bother fumigating. Just burn it. Burn it all.
Just build a house.
And now the lull of that kind of slowness is over. Now everything else is just speed ramping up. Because now at this moment, we're getting to the hour mark, which is usually the, okay, shit starts happening in the Godzilla film. Though the whole first half of the movie felt like that.
Shit's going down.
A lot of extras in this movie too. I do know that like Bandai Namco, like the company that makes the toys for these, there are some shots where they literally use Bandai's Destoroyah figures as these little ones in far away shots, and that looks a little rough. Like this looks okay, but when they're really far away used, like right here, if you really look, they look really rough. But that's only if you really dig in and pay attention. But obviously on this podcast,
figures, that's great.
We want to really zone in and talk about every little thing that we know. And I do know that. It kind of like, see right there, that looks a little bad, but they cut away from it pretty quick to not dwell on it too long.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I like that they're just using toys. They're just using action figures.
And these shots still look really good.
If they can do it, we can do it.
What do you think of the design of these little Destoroyahs, though? Like, do you like the overall creature design?
Yeah, I'd have to say so.
Yeah,
I still like Biollante, I think, better.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, we'll see by the end of the film if you like, the other three forms we haven't seen yet of Destoroyah. Here we go. Here we get another form. Speak of the devil.
Fuck yeah, there is. What are you saying?
So here we get one of the three other forms we get here. This is when Destoroyah really starts to look like Destoroyah. And every single time it transforms, you get like this even cooler version of it. Like a giant, like Voltron. Things coming together to form one giant, Megazord Voltron type thing.
Do you remember Zoids?
Bro, do I remember Zoids?
Yeah, I
That shit
bought it
was
on
legendary.
VHS.
Really?
Yeah.
That was like such an original, like that was when anime used 3D implemented into anime. So like the monsters and stuff were like 3D animated, but like it was in an anime background, similar to what like on Titan does now, but back like in the fucking late 90s. Awesome shit. We'll have to watch
VHS,
Zoids.
man.
Zoids is the
Classics.
way to go. Yes. An oxygen destroyer. So that's when it
No
changes
shit.
from micro oxygen to the oxygen destroyer. See, Destoroyah. No, Destoroyah. We're watching the English dub. They keep calling him Destroyer. It's Destoroyah.
Destroyer.
Destoroyah. There we go. Form 1 and Form 2. There's 2 more forms. We had the crawling form and the flying form. They said Godzilla. It's been a long time since we've heard Godzilla.
I like that.
Godzilla. The most like freaking Southern American accent I've ever heard in my life. Godzilla. Well, yeah. Well, yeah, because if he can take away oxygen, he can stop Godzilla. He can just pretty much disintegrate him before he blows up.
Yeah. It's logical.
Monster on monster. The enemy of the enemy, right?
It sounds sexy now. Monster on monster action.
Yeah, this is the Godzilla. This is we're watching the wrong movie. Oh no. Don't do that.
I downloaded the wrong one.
I downloaded the wrong movie. No, I got this bitch on DVD, my man. It's funny too, how they often put like some kind of like quip little title or like saying on the front of a movie to sell you on it.
Yep.
On the front of this one, it's a major monster meltdown. And then the one for Space Godzilla. Yeah, the one I had for Space Godzilla is a supernatural, superpowered intergalactic epic. I don't think that's as accurate to that film, but if anything, the last film was a meltdown.
I get it. It's punny.
Yeah. So they want to use Junior as bait, essentially. But Miki doesn't want to do that because she knows bad things will happen to him.
Oh, fuck him.
And she has that, psychological connection with him. So she feels for him, mourns for him.
But this is how they could have wrote out Manila. Sacrifice.
Right? Instead, they just erased that whole franchise from existence. Like, in these films, the Showa series didn't happen at all. Kind of like, when, like the Halloween films that they're doing. There's like, yeah, none of that happened. We're just continuing after the first one. That's kind of what they did with the Heisei series. Like, yeah, 1954 happened, but everything else after that is no. It didn't happen. Godzilla died, and we were in peace all the way up until the 80s.
What a good time. What a good time. It's quiet.
Yeah. Good time to be alive. Lots of drugs, Everyone was partying, free love. Maybe in North America, not so much in Japan, but
yeah, I was like, I don't know. Was there like a hippie movement in Japan?
There was, but it wasn't as drug filled because drugs are a big no in Japan.
I assume so.
That's why smoking is so pushed on people, and like drinking is legal no matter where you go. You can drink in public, drink on a train, you can drink anywhere you want, drink on the job, usually sometimes. Yeah. Drinking is pretty much pushed. Like at workplaces, they often like give you free alcohol at the end of the day and like give you like tabs to go to bars and stuff.
What's the age restriction there?
The drinking age for Japan is pretty low, I believe. Or if anything, it's like equivalent to ours. 20. It's 20.
All right.
That's not bad. So they both know that, so they're kind of working together because obviously we talked about how earlier, even she mentioned Miki's psychic abilities have kind of dwindled. So they're both working together to kind of guide Godzilla Jr. to this motherfucker. That already screams a big no. God, that's badass looking. Destroy is such a cool creature design.
Runs towards him.
Yeah. That's a really cool shot. There's a really funny GIF. If anyone wants to look it up, you can really just go on Google and type in Destoroyah fail or something, and it will come up. It's a GIF. I'll send it to Josh. It's literally when they were doing the flying form of Destoroyah from a later scene at night. It's flying, and I guess they couldn't stop the puppet in time, and they wanted to get the shot, so they just let it keep going, and it flies right into one of the studio lights in the pole, and it just fucking goes head first and just eats shit. It's so funny.
Remember the old like Sears parades when you would like watch movies in the States and they had like the giant inflatable
Oh,
Bart
the
Simpson
giant
and whatnot?
floats.
That looks like where he should be.
That's amazing. Can you imagine? Everyone's just like, oh my God. I kind of find it suiting too that when Godzilla Jr. here, when he like gets to Destoroyah is only in its like, second, third last form right now, so it's still pretty small. So it's almost like he evens up to the size of Junior, and then as other Godzilla shows up and stuff, he'll get bigger and bigger and end up being like, so it's almost like he builds as the monsters and things he has to fight. When he's fighting the humans, he's only that size. When they bring in vehicles and tanks, he grows to that other size. And then when Junior shows up, he has to grow to this size.
So I wonder if with Junior, is that like a daddy you left me kind of situation where you went to the store and didn't come back?
Yeah, went for cigarettes.
Just saying. Oh, be like, oh shit, there's another one of you?
Well, no, because at the end of the last one, after he beat Space Godzilla, he took Godzilla Jr. back to the island.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, because they were going to the nest. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that part.
And you notice too on Godzilla Jr., he's kind of got yellow on his chest and his neck, just like Godzilla Jr. did.
Yeah,
just to kind of show you that he's the same creature. Nice little touch. He's already getting a building dropped on him. Oh, look at that destruction, though. Oh, and then the actual suit flying by as it happens. Those are amazing shots.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Very nice looking suit on that one.
Yeah.
Same with this, like all the Godzilla scenes thus far have been really nice.
Oh, like it moving with its mouth as it's flying. Like all these shots look so goddamn good. Like think back to like when Mothra and Rodan flew.
Exactly.
And then
I'm thinking about Godzilla flying.
Oh God. That doesn't happen in this movie, I swear. At least not by his choice.
Jumps on his back.
Yeah. See, there he gets the upper hand on Destoroyah. He's like, yeah, look at that smug little look he gets. Yeah, fuck you.
Dick trying to attack me.
He's like, yeah, bitch, I got you. Oh, no, what's going on now? Now it's out of the flying form and back into its other second last form here. This giant walking form. It's aggregate form, I guess. Like it's crawling form.
His hand-to-hand combat form.
So this is like the second last form before it gets to the perfect form. So your form.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so Josh's.
The Josh form. Dun, dun. God, can you imagine all the different suits they would have had to make for each of these forms? Because they have to make one that's scale to the monsters, one that's scale for smaller shots, and then one for close-ups. And then think about how many forms there are. 3 of every form. Jesus. I mean, they could just dump the whole budget, right, though, because this was going to be the last film, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's what I would do. Invest all of it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Invest it all.
Get some really good suits, some destruction, some giant-ass fucking monster thing.
Here we get a really devastating hit. Watch this. So it climbs up the building, falls right down. Oh, and it just impales Godzilla Jr. and starts injecting the micro oxygen into his body. Like he starts like foaming at the mouth and shit. Like this scene's brutal.
And that's how he dies. Looks like he has a vagina
Godzilla
on
Jr.
his chest.
Yeah, you get that a lot of that in like butthole. Looks like a butthole.
Yeah, or like a butthole or some shit.
Oh, he gets the upper hand on him there. Cuts when
For now, the ooze
cuts his arms off. That's a wicked shot.
Alien.
Yeah, Godzilla Jr.'s got some got the upper hand there. Oh, here comes
feel
Big
the big
Daddy
pee-pee energy.
The big pee-pee, here he comes.
Little P and Big P.
Let's go. This room looks like something out of a good Death Star.
I'd have to agree. Ever seen Spaceballs?
Yeah, it looks like the Spaceballs.
Yeah, like when he walks in. Darth Helmet.
Darth Helmet.
Or Dark Helmet, I think it was.
I think it's Darth Helmet.
I don't know, one of those.
I love how even the eyes glow orange. Like it's not even the fins and the chest and all the spots that glow, but his eye. Oh, I forgot about that. He just second mouth plunges into Godzilla Jr.'s neck and all the blood squirts everywhere, foaming at the mouth. Fuck, that's a good shot.
You killed my son. Destroying.
Yeah. Destroyer is destroying Godzilla Jr. Destoroyah. Off. As always, guys, all the Heisei films have the coolest poster work, like the coolest movie art. You have to go check out the one they did for this movie. It's just wild looking. Oh, and up he goes into flying form, and down he goes. He gets knocked out for now. But see, Godzilla Jr. gets the upper hand. He still wins, just like his dad. Just in the, just at the end when you think it's all is over with, he comes back and takes the win. Round 2, Godzilla
Fight.
Jr. So at this moment, seeing like, you don't realize it. You're like, yeah, he about the same size as his dad because like he was the same size as Destoroyah. But then as we see Godzilla walk up to Junior, you really see, wow, because we haven't had it put into perspective how big Godzilla is. Like he's fucking massive at this point because this is like his top growth. Though I think the height of him is still the same in this film. Let me just check real quick because I think he's still 100 meters. I'm gonna have to check. So he is, so he's 100 meters from King Ghidorah to this one. So he's still the same height. The only thing that changed is his tail length. Oh, no, that's the same as well, 140 meters. God damn. So he's the same height.
Big boy.
You never really notice the largeness until he's next to Junior, and you're like, holy shit, he's huge.
He looks like he's getting ready to like replace George Fisher in Cannibal Corpse with that thick neck.
Yeah.
Either that or like Corey Taylor, but mostly like George Fisher.
Yeah.
Corpse grinder.
This suit looks the best at these night shots, though, when you can really see the illuminating of the light. Oh, and then Junior. Oh, here we get the cute reunion of the father and son.
Dad, you came back for me.
And I feel like this one's more relatable because in the last ones, there's such a size difference. So you never really feel like they're, like the same species.
Plus, Manila's an idiot, so
yeah, exactly.
I don't care.
Well, I mean, I should
have left him.
I meant Godzilla, baby Godzilla, and Godzilla Jr., but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but like, if Manila showed up right now, they'd be like, oh,
yeah, no one fucking cares about Manila. Like, look at the size difference now.
Now fight. Both of you two.
I'm sure, and that's the one thing we were talking about earlier. Oh, here we go. This is the coolest entrance any monster's ever gotten in these movies. Soundtrack to the appearance. Check this shit out. Like he's just emerged from hell himself. Now we get Destoroyah in its final form, the perfect form.
That's what she said.
And this creature, believe it or not, is bigger than Godzilla. So, because Godzilla is 100 meters, Destoroyah is 120 meters in height. Damn.
Big boy.
Weighing it at a whopping 80,000 metric tons.
A chonker.
80,000 metric tons. That's crazy. Godzilla only weighs 60.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's literally another 20% of Godzilla. Exactly. Godzilla, but up 20% and made it look like he crawled out of the depths of hell.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. Do it. Do it now. Get away from here. You need to kill the Destroyer.
Exactly.
Do it.
Do it now.
He's not a tumor. Right.
Are you sure?
What do you think of that Arnold impression? Was it all right?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's like I practice it too much.
Yeah, probably.
Put the cookie down.
How about we have nookie time?
Oh.
No, don't tell me what to do.
I am the governor.
Shut up.
You can't tell me what to do.
Watch the movie.
Oh, my eyes are peeled on this screen. All these movies, like I'm usually sitting back in my chair, relaxing with a drink, mic close to my mouth. I am leaned forward in my chair with my arms like on my lap, like just gazing into this film right now.
Just rocking out with his cock out.
I am, yeah, absolutely. If you're not touching yourself and watching this movie, you're doing something wrong.
Oh, Destroyer.
God, this movie's amazing.
Dun, 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 dun. See, banging music.
Yep, always the music. So now at this point, we've got Godzilla Jr., Godzilla, Destoroyah, and the military in Super X3. We've got Godzilla Jr. kind of in the balance. We're worried about him. We don't want anything to happen. You know, he's kind of like the in-between. We got Godzilla about to melt down and destroy everything, destroys in its perfect form, ready to conquer the world. Stakes are high, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of an era. How many times do I have to say that? Era, the end, now.
No.
It's the end of an era.
I hate
right
you.
now.
That's all I keep thinking of now. Now.
Godzilla, do it. Oh my god.
You're a nub.
I love the absence of music and score here. You just hear the thudding of them coming together and the emotional roars between them. Look at the size difference, dude. Like, fuck. Oh, and then Destroyer comes in to ruin the day. Of course. Just trucks him over. Oh, and then just, oh, this is a badass moment. Just grabs Godzilla Jr.
Yeet.
Oh, this is not going to be good. Great miniature work. This is some of the best miniature and shot work, mainly like cinematography. Like the shots in this scene are just incredible from now on.
Just fucking drop him.
Yeah, imagine
Power bomb him.
the weight of that thing falling all that height. That'd be the end. He's choking him out too. And just like that, down goes Godzilla Jr. And kudos to the acting of the girls. Like when there's bad stuff happening to Junior and Godzilla, like their acting is literally on par. Like you very much feel through those characters in this ending. Those are kind of like the characters you're supposed to be, you know, seeing through their eyes. And if you don't see sympathetically, you see it through the military's eyes. You know, you definitely have a vessel to live the movie through in this movie.
Yeah.
They kind of hit all the different angles of like different emotions that different people watching this would feel. I am definitely on Miki's side. I just find this destruction of Godzilla Jr. fucking disheartening. Oh, there goes their chopper. Don't go to the chopper. It's blown up. Don't go there. Sorry. So now they're just left with the pretty much Junior slowly dying.
Fuck him. Peace. Sorry, bud.
It's not even the death that gets me in this movie. So
Yeah, that's the way she goes.
that's not the, by the way, when I say I cry in this movie, folks, that is not the scene. I will tell you the scene. I cry, and trust me.
It's when it just starts. The whole movie. He's just been secretly
Yeah.
crying.
I've just been crying the whole time. And like, if you think that's sad, then you are not ready for the ending of this film. Okay, now the fight begins. Godzilla Jr.'s down. Godzilla's pissed as hell. Destroyer's ready to fuck everybody up. He's had enough. He's like, I'm taking you out. This is where the fight begins. And as we can tell, Destoroyah already definitely has the upper hand here.
He's destroying.
Godzilla's going to have to pull something pretty large out of his pocket. And it won't be as Godzilla-sized strife.
Destroyer destroying. It's in the name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what he lives for. He doesn't have, you know, thought process of preservation, of humanity, of survivability. Just to destroy. Yeah. And then the fateful words of Miki. that was in the trailer when the movie dropped.
Dun, dun,
This might be
dun.
Godzilla's last fight. You know, all 23, 24 some odd movies, all leading up to this moment, Josh.
Oh, there's been a lot of movies. Dun dun dun. Get him.
Fucking wreck him, bud. And I like how you kind of see a lot of different things in this movie, all the different angles. You know, you get the far away fighting angles that we got earlier. You get the close up kind of boxing Rocky type cam shots there. Then you get the beam blast from the Heisei era. They kind of pay an homage to every type of like fighting angle from every director and every like screenplay idea to kind of pay homage to every different angle. I like that a lot. So this is, by the way, this scene where he's dragging Godzilla behind him. This is the, I believe this is the scene where the Destoroyah thing flies right into the soundstage pole. And then just gets fucked up. It's really
Fuck
funny.
it, just keep going. Nope.
Nope, of course not. But you know who does? The TV chopper who's reporting this. And who's in that TV chopper? The other Yamane, his sister. See, everyone's got a role to play in this movie. There's no wasted character development.
Everyone gets some role play.
Exactly. Jesus, that's fucking hot as hell. Over 1,000, almost 1,200 degrees. That's Celsius too. It's not even Fahrenheit. That's fucked. Like unbearable hotness is like 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. So you imagine what 1,200 degrees is. Jesus. Come on, Super X. It's now the Super X is in the mix. Everybody's fucking get in there and fight. It's a shit I like. And then we finally get the Godzilla march. Dun 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 dun. Really cool shot of the light gleaming around him. The spotlights. That's cool as fuck.
Yeah, it's not like you need fucking spotlights. You see them coming.
Yeah.
Just saying, like you're blaring it like you can't see a giant ass monster walking through your city. Look up.
Yeah. I mean, it's morely for, I think, for the planes and stuff like that, but they should be able to see him. Come on. God, the Destroyer suit's so freaking cool. And there's so little behind the scenes information on that suit. And it's like one of the coolest suits. Like I would have loved to have known how it all works, but it's pretty hard to find information on it. Oh, yes. Here we go. Oh, just that shot of him just knocking that highway out as he walks up like it's nothing. Like the city doesn't matter right now. This fight does. Oh, there you go. Now we get to see what that horn's used for. It's like an energy beam, like a lightsaber, essentially. Oh, here we go. Now Godzilla's using the spiral beam, the pulse breath.
Attack.
Oh, just burst, destroy open there. Oh, that's a
Pew.
shot. And just rips some of his fucking horns out. He's totally exposed his guts now. Godzilla's had enough, boy. God damn.
He's pissed.
So normally at this point, folks, this would be where we talk about the Rotten Tomato score. But we already know
100%, yeah.
it's 100%. And even the audience score, 97, 98, 97. I don't remember what the audience score was. And the audience score is just, you know, whoever watched the movie can vote online and it averages it out.
Yeah, we don't trust them.
No, and even that, it's fucking awesome. It's unbelievable. Oh, so see now Destroy is separated back into the little forms because it's getting weaker.
Squish them. Step on them.
And now they all just start crawling up on him. Oh, that's such a cool shot. It's so cool. And they're spraying the micro oxygen all over him. Yo, Destroyer's giving it everything he's got. They gotta give the guy credit. Yeet. Just yeets him. Love it. All the miniature. I'd say Destroy in that form looks like a crab scorpion hybrid. Crab scorpion from hell. I just do love the demonic overtones that Destoroyah has. I wonder if it's some kind of metaphor for being like what drags Godzilla down to hell, essentially, right? That's fucking cool. Or at least tries to. Notice how he can't use his atomic breath because they're sucking all of the energy out of him.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that little additive. It's a nice touch. Come on, boy. He's like, okay, just let the smoke clear. Where are these guys? Did I take them all out?
No, you gotta kill like one at a time.
Like a Royal Rumble. You can't just try and focus on more than one. One at a time. Subtypes too. If the opportunity arises. Oh. So we got. Oh, we're coming down to like 10 minutes.
Fuck, I'm blind. I wouldn't have been able to see him.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're not in the shopper looking for them.
I'm just saying, I would be like, where? I think that's a stick.
It's a stick. It's a stick in the mud.
Oh, it's moving. No, okay, it is them.
I mean, really, all you would have had to look for is Godzilla Jr. No,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Look for a corpse.
You're not too far away from that. Poor guy had all that build up, all that stuff just to die, you know? Or did he?
Nah, probably not.
Dun dun dun.
They could have used Manila and then just killed off his character completely. Would never had to use him again. Easy.
I mean, even better, they just didn't even bother to give him a send off. They just pretended he never existed.
That's basically what we got now.
Yeah, I think that's better than killing him off. Doesn't even get the satisfaction of a proper send off. They just forget. They just erase him and pretend he wasn't there. This Godzilla got a full build, a full like proper start. Actually, people who liked him as a character, and then they send off. Rough, man. That's so sad.
Peace.
I imagine it would have been pretty emotional working on this movie, especially all of them knowing that this was going to be their last Godzilla film.
Yeah, and then they're like, I could see why they would try and end Godzilla Jr. because they were probably thinking, be like, oh, just in case, you know, we never have to focus on this character.
Yeah. Like, and they like, this movie is like the end. Like, it is an end, like, for sure. Like, there's not like a, to be continued, but there's definitely a way like they could make it go forward 100%.
Oh, you can always try and make it go. Like, you can work away.
And even the way this one ends, they don't even like move forward with that with the Millennium series. It's not like they continue on. Like, this is the end of this. The Millennium is its own thing. It doesn't take from these movies at all. Millennium series does a similar thing to what the Heisei series does, where it erases everything and pretends nothing happened, except for the original. It does the same thing again. All right. So Destroy is pretty much, I mean, at this point, all
Destroyed.
in its microformed. It's destroyed. So now they got to work on cooling Godzilla down because now, you know, Destroy is not there to destroy Godzilla.
Give him a nice bath.
Give him an ice bath.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
put him in Alaska,
the corpse of his son,
Antarctica, or some crap.
So my favorite thing about this score is definitely the ending. The ending score we get, which I'll point out, but just so I don't have to talk through it, so we can really sit and experience it. Do you remember in 1954 Godzilla when they were sitting in Serizawa's lab and the TV turns on and all those girls are singing that really sad song to honor all of the lost people who died in the explosion?
Yeah,
it's kind of like an homage to like the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Beautiful score. They kind of bring that score back and the score from Rodan when they die at the end in the volcano, and they kind of do a blend, and like he does kind of like an overture of like those two songs for the ending of this film as like a closing the doors on Godzilla, and it's just the score alone might bring a tear to your eye, let alone with what happens during the score. It's incredible. So here we go. Godzilla crying out in anger, but he's also, about to die himself. But at least, his son's not even, he was probably thinking, I'm going to die before my son does. Oh, and who comes in to ruin the day? What the fuck was that? He says, Destoroyah. He's like, I'm not done yet, bitch. God, this motherfucker just won't stay down. At this point, I love battle damage Godzilla here. He's got like the frozen parts of his body ripped open that are like just burning to a crisp from the radiation. It's just wild. Oh, I love how Destoroyah just head slams him into the ground with his tail. He's like sparking up, and you can see him starting to suck the energy out of him through the tail. It's a wild shot.
Like a straw.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, his chest does look like a butthole. That's just, they always like little sexual innuendos. I know they include that a lot in monsters. Like they said, like a lot with like the H.R. Geiger designs and the face huggers resembling like vaginas and stuff like that. Same with like, Hedorah's eyes were supposed to be vaginas as well. And like Destoroyah looks like a butthole. Like it's because it adds that kind of uneasiness that we're not used to seeing. So it kind of makes you feel like something different than just, a scary monster. It makes you feel, it gives you that kind of uncomfortableness, but like it's low key and it's kind of like hidden. So you feel it, but you don't know why. Kind of what they go for. Oh, I love how his spikes start to melt on his back. Cool shot. God, dude. Here we go. Burning Godzilla at full power. You think Destoroyah's got a chance?
No.
Hell nah. Look at just standing in the vicinity of that building. He's just melting everything.
He's a warm boy.
Yeah.
And this is how we get summer.
Yeah. The Ice Age? Yeah, I think not.
Aha.
You know what actually killed the dinosaurs? Godzilla. Look, he's just standing there emitting essentially like radiation pulses. Oh, I love that shot. Literally just blows a chunk of his ear off, like his head, and it's just dangling by flesh. That's a badass shot. A lot of gore in this one for like monster gore. You get Godzilla Jr. getting punctured through the neck, foaming at the mouth.
You get the
Destoroyah getting ripped open and puking up fucking in his insides. Godzilla getting sliced open and shit. Taking out his legs. Like, Destoroyah, you don't stand a chance. And then he tries to escape here. He's like, screw this. I'm out of here. I'm going to lose this battle.
They all try and escape.
Yep.
They all
not this
bail.
time. Because like we said, he's just built to destroy. He's just a creature built to survive and destroy. So of course he's gonna try and get away. And then they're like, nah, you're gonna die here with Godzilla.
You're gonna freeze, yeah. Good choice.
So I like how still it was kind of a combination of Godzilla and the military and G-Force who take out the monster.
Onto Godzilla. That's hilarious.
Down he goes. I wouldn't say on to Godzilla, but definitely in the vicinity of Godzilla. Oh, that's a great explosion shot. I straight up thought he was just
gonna squish him.
Look at that explosion shot. That was a nice fucking explosion. All right, now you got to deal with Godzilla. Destoroyah's down. Only 7 more degrees till he hits nuclear. 1,200 degrees is the all else fails blow up zone they were talking about earlier. Once he hits 1,200, that's it. End of the world.
All right, it's the end of the world. It's the end of
there
the
it is.
World as we know it.
Meltdown.
He's gonna have a tantrum.
Here we go, man. The final draw to Godzilla. This is that score I was telling you about. It's just one of those beautiful. And like the reason I cried at this part when I'm watching it, not because it's sad, but it's just a beautiful piece of cinema. Visuals, what it means, the score, the build up to this moment. It's perfect. So the commentary might be a little quiet here, folks, but if you're watching this, just sit in awe and take this all in. This is good movie. Good movie. Good movie.
Is this where you're gonna cry, little buddy?
Yo, I'm already tearing up.
Are you serious?
No.
I'm surprised.
I'm about to with what's gonna happen here. It's fucking rough, man. The music is gorgeous in this scene. And they cut all the, they cut the special effects down and they just let the score bleed through to give you that emotion.
I like it. I like it a lot more. Sounds majestic as hell.
He slowly melts away. Because he's freezing, they're cooling him, but it's slowly deteriorating his flesh,
Yeah.
The last roar of Godzilla.
Bye, little buddy or big buddy.
Really cool shot. How you can just see it melt and his skeleton slowly collapse. Fucking so cool.
Fuck, if I had it my way, he would have exploded. Did we? You're alive. He's not. Aw.
And that's like a really cool line. My job is done now, Godzilla, because, Miki started her career in movies because of Godzilla, and this is her last film as a Godzilla film. And this is like her ending of kind of as her arc too. So it's a nice little send-off line there. Radiation levels go down. So they've done it. But here we get one of the, this is what I mean by like it's kind of cliffhangery, but not. Now, a lot's debated about this ending, whether what we see here is just the spirit of Godzilla saying that he'll live on, that this isn't the end, he will come back, or if this is a lot of people, which I think this is the true fact, that's Godzilla Jr. and the radioactive explosion kind of kickstarted him up again, his G cells, and advanced him into what he was meant to be, the next Godzilla.
I like my theory better. It's like Grease and he was dead the entire time and just imagining it.
And we get that final roar and credits roll. All right, Josh, what'd you think of Godzilla versus Destoroyah?
I liked it. Probably one of the best movies.
Yep. Right.
Past like 2 or 3 have been like pretty solid movies thus far.
Yeah.
95, year after I was born.
Yeah, buddy. The year I was born.
Young Yin.
Yeah, I know. Fuck you. So, yeah, folks, definitely deserves its top tier Godzilla title. We'll talk a little bit about the ending of this film now as well. So, obviously, Godzilla dies. That's kind of the idea. They were going to put him to rest for 10 years and bring him back, but they didn't tell people that. They said this is going to be it. This is the end of Godzilla. People were so upset that they said that and that they were going to do that. They actually had built a statue of Godzilla in Japan at one of the squares, a shrine essentially, where people actually gathered with candles and actually left like things of like memorial for him.
That's hilarious.
And everything, because they took it so seriously. And like people were mad at the studio, and they're like, they actually had to come out and say, okay, you got us. He's going to come back in 10 years, but we're just kind of letting him rest for a while and letting the US kind of take their play on it. And then we'll bring him back later. because everyone was so like worried that this was the end of it. And like, you know, Godzilla means so much to Japan as a whole. Of its whole entire like movie production history is based off of like, you know, Seven Samurai and like those kind of movies, and this movie and Godzilla and Gojira alone, they were such a big staple of like what made Japan popular for its entertainment and media in other countries. Like it was such a huge staple. So like to say that that was going away was like saying a piece of Japan was leaving forever. So like it caused such an outcry that like people were actually pissed. Like, and they're like, they had to come out and say, okay,
like
guys,
Canada
we're
not
joking.
having maple syrup.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's like in a lot of ways, it's like I know a lot of people like joke about it and stuff, and like, you know, the Leafs suck, but it's imagine if the Toronto Maple Leafs as a hockey team just ceased to exist. Like they just randomly decided they were going to stop. Like, yeah, they're not the best team ever. You know, Godzilla's weren't the best movies ever, but that was like a staple of like a Canadian sport. Then that was like the team, right? And like it would piss off a lot of people, and like they're like, oh no, like we're gonna bring them back, but we're just stopping. Like that's kind of like what the idea. Not the best analogy, but it meant a lot to the country, and to have something, especially like for what it stood for like their post-nuclear fallout and stuff like that, to have it die, it's almost like, you know, like the memories of all these people and what happened are dying too. So it was like a big deal. But yeah, oh my God, folks, if you haven't seen this film and you just watch this podcast, I recommend you check it out, watch it. If you can, watch the 1954 original first, then watch this one. And you can probably skip all the other Godzilla films. Like if I was to meet somebody who's never seen a Godzilla film and I'm like, well, which ones should you watch? I would send them the order of the original 1954 Godzilla, this one, maybe some of the newer ones like the MonsterVerse ones that we'll get into and stuff like that if they like more modern moviegoers. And then I would say if you liked those, then go back and watch the Showa ones because they're a fun time and they're silly and enjoyable, and they have this really rich feel to them that a lot of movies just don't have anymore. So 10 out of 10. Yeah. And with the way, folks, that kind of brings our Heisei series to an end. That's it. So for
we did it.
The remainder of our season here, we'll be covering the rest of the Friday movies, the Friday the 13th films. And then we'll be covering the 1998 Godzilla film that the U.S. planned to do when this movie essentially was killing off their Godzilla and letting U.S. continue. They were going to do a trilogy of films. But as we'll get to when we watch that movie, it did so bad that all those movies got canceled, and Toho had to revitalize their character a lot sooner and fix what they fucked up.
Messed up. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
But
a lot of possibilities on this one.
Yeah, exactly. So you probably rank that pretty high tier Godzilla film, Josh?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't build it up too much. It was everything you thought it was going to be.
Pluses and negatives. We'll talk about it eventually.
Okay. All right. I see you. Yeah, we'll do a ranking list of the Heisei films eventually, folks.
I assumed so.
Probably, but actually in this season, we'll probably do that. We'll probably do a 1998 Godzilla review and podcast commentary, and then we'll do a ranking of the Heisei films in between the Friday films as we finish those up, because we have like 3 or 4 of those left, and then that should be the total.
I mean, I would be a liar and say it would be a short one because that's what we thought last time. Oh, it'll be 20 minutes, hour long.
But it will be because those are 15 movies. There's only 7 of these.
All right, so that's fair.
Less than
about half the time, so like half hour.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciated you so much for being a part of our journey on these films. Especially if you made it up to this point, you're literally the A+ winners in our books. We love you so much. If you guys have any other fun facts or cool things about this film, as always, or any other movies you'd like us to talk about or see, feel free to leave a comment down below on YouTube, or you can add us to any of our social medias at Killer Kaiju Cast on Twitter, or we're also on Facebook as well. And we'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts on this movie and our overall presentation of our podcast. So with that coming to a huge close of the Heisei series, we hope you guys enjoyed the journey as much as we did, and we'll see you next time for some more killer movies.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, guys. Take care. Thank you so much.